Hello everyone. Let's see if I'm online. Okay, it seems so. It seems this is working, but I actually tried to stream today for YouTube as well. And looking at the YouTube link, it doesn't seem to work. So let me just give a heads up to the folks at YouTube. Since this is my second live stream ever, I'm kind of learning as along the way. So let me just fix this real quick. All right, hello friends. Oops, I should probably turn off my notifications. All right, and yeah. Over at Twitch, and the Twitch link is over here. Okay, cool. All right. I was planning big time for this, but my plans don't seem to work all that well. So I was trying to stream on YouTube as well. That didn't work. I was trying to play some music. That didn't work. So guess I need to learn stuff. So so hopefully the rest of the things are going to be working okay. And yeah, I can see already some people are online. So if you have a question you would like to ask, if you're interested in something, then go ahead and ask. I'll be happy to talk to you, to interact with you. Otherwise, I have a kind of an agenda for today. I wanted to explore a couple of Cypress plugins and to see what they're capable of. Last time we were coding here a couple of tests for the app I have made. I was doing and there's this Trello clone app that I was doing, which you can actually find on my GitHub, and it's really easy to install. You just write npm install and then npm start, and it opens up this Trello clone app, which I'm going to show you in a minute. It runs locally on my local host, and it looks something like this. So you can create your board, new board. You can create a list inside that board, new list. Then you can create a task and then create another list, and then create another task, and you can reorder. You can send tasks in between these lists, or you can reorder these lists, and all kinds of cool stuff. If you open the task, you can actually upload a picture to that. I haven't prepared a picture, but I can upload something from my blog, and here it is. It's uploaded. It's actually not uploaded anywhere since we're at localhost, but what we are doing is that we can it saves to the drive. So, and if I delete it, it's gone. Yeah, and it uses a very simple API. So when I look into the console and I check off my task, it's going to send a patch, a request. Yeah, just a very simple body, very simple preview, and that's it. So it's a very simple app. I'm going to link the GitHub link into the Trello app into the chat if you want to check it out. And there's a link. There's a branch that I'm working on. It's add Cypress tests. And what I basically want to do is to add some tests to this application, and then after that I'm going to refactor it because it's a total spaghetti code. So I just wanted to make it work for a course that I made here in Slovakia. So yeah. So as you can see, the application actually does some stuff that you might not get right out of the box when using Cypress. So for example, drag and drop. This is something you don't have a drag or drop or anything like that inside Cypress, but you can use the power of JavaScript and use the power of npm and just download the plugin and install it, and you can see how that works, and it's going to give you a command to do just that. So you can drag and drop and stuff like that. And also for the upload functionality, there's a plugin for that. So there's a lot of stuff you can do if you want to, and if there's a plugin for that. So yeah, let's start with the first one, right? Let's do some dragging and dropping over here. So I'm going to write a new test. I'm going to make this a little bigger so it's better for you to see. So it's easier for you to see, and I have this set of settings, and this should be much easier. Okay, so I'm already using the intercept command that came out just last week with the version 6. And if you're familiar with the root command, you can see that it actually works very, very similarly to the old root command, but it has a much more power than that. And I think I'm going to be talking about this in the future. I just need to maybe explore it a little more, or maybe we'll explore it here. So I'm going to add a new test, and I'm going to add a test that is going to be testing what is going to be testing? Dragging and dropping, right? Drag task to another list. So let's do something like this. All right, so I'm going to continue. Yeah, so in my before each hook, I have my request to my special API endpoint that is going to be resetting my database. And yeah, the database here is just a JSON file. So in this public folder, I have the data folder, and there's a data JSON, and the whole database is just a JSON file. So I have my new word that I have created, and I have my tasks over here. So there's a task, there's another task, there's a new list and another list, and that's basically it. So this JSON is something that gets fetched when I refresh my app, so it actually remembers everything. Well, that's the whole point, right? So okay, so let's get back to the task. Let's drag a task to another list, and I'm going to filter this by using .only, and when I run this test, it's going to run just this single test from the task. So let me run Cypress real quick. npx Cypress open, as I already have Cypress installed inside this project, right? So here it is. So let's take a moment. Brave browser. And I have a couple of things open, so I'm going to just close this because the app is going quite slow, or rather everything is going slow. Oh, and Cypress already made an update. Let's look into that. It's a minor update, and it's probably, yeah, like, oh, here's the changelog. So let's look into the changelog, and it's just a couple of bug fixes. There's a regression and a screenshot. Yeah, so basically just bug fixes. It's a minor update. I'm going to do that later. All right, so let me reorder this. And let me run my tasks test. So now when I run it, only the single test should run, then drag another list, and just my before each hook is going to be running. And what's in my before each hook? So there's the request, and there are there are two custom commands that I made. So I'm adding a new board, and I'm using API to do that. So basically I'm using a request, and then I'm adding a list through my API. And I actually released a blog today about this pattern that I use. So I have custom commands for my API calls, which I want to do in tests, and then I save those into the cypress.env. And if you want to check it out, I'm going to leave a link. So let me just take it real quick. Or let's do it like this. It's going to be faster just to find a link. Here is my ugly blog, but it has some content, so you can check it out. I sent a link inside the chat. But yeah, the TLDR version is that I'm using the Cypress env to push all the data that I'm using, that my server returns. So stuff like generated IDs of the board or of the list are stored inside there. So if I want to access it, I can just open up my console and write cypress.env, and I can see my boards here. So here's the board that I created over here with this request, and here's a list that I have created with the second request. So I can use this. And what I get out of this is to get this very sleek, very easy to read test where I add board API and add another list, and that's it. So I know the before each hook what it does. So it adds a board, adds a list. So what I want to do inside of here is to add another list. And this is also one of the things that I'm using. I'm using TypeScript, and I have my type definitions for my custom commands, so I can see what's going inside. So I'll add another list, and that's going to have an object or options object, and the title will be another board. And the board index is something I don't need to take, because by default it takes the first board, the first that I have created. So I have two lists in here, and now what I want to do is to add a task, and hopefully I did this already, and that I added a custom command for that, and it seems so. And yeah, so again, I'm going to add a title. That's going to be new task, very boring naming. And after that, I'm going to visit, and I'm going to visit my board, and it's going to be cypress.env boards, and I'm going to visit the first board ID. So this is the URL that opens my board, right? So now when I save this, it's going to open my board, and here is my hello board, hello list, new task, and another board. So that's not really visible. Let's make it bigger, right? So here it is. Hello board, hello list, new task, another board. And this is exactly what I did, right? So here's my hello board. Here's the hello list. And there's the another board. And then the new task. So this is what I added, and afterwards I have visited the board that I created in my before each hook, right? So when I create a board, the server is going to return the ID of the board, and that ID actually goes into the URL of my board, right? So I'm opening this board /567, etc. Okay, so let's get into the plugins, right? So you can find plugins on documentation page of Cypress.io. And if you're not a heavy reader of documentations, I suggest that you do an exception for Cypress documentation, because it is a really, really well done documentation, and most of what I learned, I actually learned from here. I think this is really a very, very good documentation. And yeah, I'm saying that a lot, but it's true. Okay, so here I have a plugins tab, and there are many custom commands, many plugins that you can use. There's a whole section on component testing. There's social logins, etc. So authentication plugins you can use, and a couple of very interesting ones like skip test. This is a very good one, and yeah. And what we want to do is to drag and drop. So I open this, and I'm on a GitHub page of this plugin, which has a nice little README file, and that is going to show me that is going to show me how to install it. So if you go step by step, it's actually pretty easy. So what I want to do is to install, and I'm using npm, not yarn, in my project. So just go npm install. So install this. The second step is to go require the plugin before my Cypress is loaded. And the documentation says this is usually in commands.js, but where it actually is in the it's in the index.js file. So there's a plugins file that's a little different. We are installing plugins, but we are not going to add it into plugins file. But as the README file says, it's put it in a place that is loaded before your Cypress, before the Cypress tests are running, and that is actually the support file. So for me, that is, I have changed it to index.ts, So when I go there, I'm going to go open support index.ts, and voila, I have already installed it. All right, so I didn't have to do that, but here it is. I'm using import instead of require. Okay, so let's go back to the README, and I can see that you can use the import syntax. Okay, can you hear my baby crying in the background? Hopefully that's not disturbing you too much. Her teeth are coming out, so she cries a little at the moment, but yeah, she'll get over that. Okay, so another thing here is that what this does, what just this import does, it adds the drag command. So this is all I need, right? And it works like this. If I want to use it, I'm going to visit my page, and I'm going to get the source item, and I'm going to drag it into the target item. So what I want to do now is to go back to my test and first select my source item, and that would be my task, right? So this is the thing I want to select, and since I haven't yet written a custom selectors or data attributes or something like that, I'm just using task, and I'm going to add them eventually. Just want to make sure that before I do that, I first have my tests in place, and then I'm going to gradually change that. Okay, so I'm going to get the task, and I'm going to give it an alias. And the reason why I do that is, well, actually in this time I don't really have to do that, but if I had like multiple tasks over here and I wanted to select like the particular one, I would give it an alias. So you might be familiar with aliasing the roots or the intercept now, but aliasing DOM elements, that's not something that I have seen like being widely used. But you can do that, and you can alias the task. So I'm going to alias it as task. I'm then going to overcomplicate things. So I get the task, and what I then want to do is to drag it. Actually, I don't really need to alias it. I'm not going to do that. And where I want to drag it is somewhere over here. I'm going to drag it into the list, right? So here's my list and list tasks. So this is the place where it actually lands. So let me select this, and I'm going to select this over here. So if I did everything correctly, that should work. And it didn't. Let me run it again just to make sure that I didn't interfere with this. And it seems I did something wrong. So let me see what I did something wrong. Oh, okay. So the list tasks, there are actually 2 of them. So I cannot drag to both places. I need to have an element that is going to select just a second, right? So how do I do that? That's actually where this list, where this alias might come in handy. So I'm going to get my list tasks. I'm going to select that. Oh, what did I do? Okay, get, and I'm going to select the first one, and I'm going to alias it as first list, And then I'm going to do the same for the second list. Okay, first list, and then let's just paste it here, and that's going to be second list. And now when I want to drag my task to the second list, I'm just going to reference it. So second list, and that should be fine now. Oh yeah, it works, right? So when I run this again, you should be able to see how the task jumps from the first list to the second one. So that's actually a pretty easy plugin to use, and I suggest you use it. Oh, we have a couple of questions. So BB is asking, is there any reason why I'm not using testing library Cypress? I have been using it. I was actually quite fond of it. It was a really nice addition. But slowly over time, I realized I can actually achieve a lot of the same stuff with Cypress only, and I don't actually need to install an extra plugin for that. Like there's the thing we most have been using was find. I think the command was something like find element by text. The second one most used was find by placeholder text, and yeah, these two were basically the ones that we used the most. And after a while, I realized that selecting by text, I can just use a contains command. You'll see why contains actually does work for us quite well, and even selecting an element that is that has a certain text but is within another element, or find, I don't know, all h1 tags that have certain text actually works better. So this, if I wanted to do this with the Cypress testing library, it actually, or maybe I just didn't find the proper way to do that, but I think I would have to use get that h1 and then go within and just find within the proper context or something like that. It just didn't work too well for me. But I have seen that it is quite popular, and it actually adds a lot of good commands. So for example, the find by placeholder text is actually a really good one, especially if you're working with forms that have their placeholder text. So that's pretty good one. So you don't need to change your code, you just use what's already in it, and you can be fairly like confident that is not going to change, because the placeholder text for the form that, I don't know, just submits a form is not going to change that often, probably. It depends on what you're testing. So Sean Jane is asking if there will be a recording of this session too. You missed the start. Oh yeah, no problem. It's going to be on Twitch. Like it stays there for I think like 2 weeks or something. Like you can actually watch the session from last week also, right? Like it's still available. So yeah, don't worry, no worries. I was actually trying to stream on YouTube as well, but it didn't work for some reason. Not sure what was the reason. I'm still looking at the window over here, and I see like waiting for Philip to start this. Yeah, sorry. Okay, let's look into another plugin, and this is actually an interesting one. So actually let me stay in tasks, because what I want to do in my next test is that I want to upload. So let's upload a file into a task. So again, I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to visit, and yeah, I'm going to visit, but before I visit, I'm actually going to add a task via API, and let's just run it and continue from there. So yeah, I have it here, and I'm going to click on that task. So I already know where to click. It's going to be CY get and that task, and I'm going to click on it. So when I do that, it opens my modal for me. So I'm going to just make an assertion that it is actually visible, because there's a visual change that happened, and in my UI tests I like to check, like, whenever there's something that visually is changing, or that is visually changing, to make sure that that change actually happens. Like, I try to pick like the middle ground, like not to go too much into detail, because then that test becomes brittle. It's just going to be failing all the time after every update. But like the general kind of idea of what is happening before users' eyes when they interact with the app, I think that's good. That should be covered. So this is what I do. So I'm going to select this task module shoot, and it should be visible. So BB is asking, oh, you're just commenting on the contains. It removes testing implementation details and focus how the user uses our application. Yeah, I mean that's true. Like that should be the main focus of your end-to-end tests. You want to get as close to the real behavior as you can get. Yeah. So yeah, that's actually the motto, the testing motto of Ken C. Dodds, one of the authors, or probably the main author, since he maintains that with a whole bunch of people, that your test should resemble the behavior of the user. So, and I think that's very, very good way to look at the tests. So all right, let's see what happens here. Okay, so now we have clicked, we have looked into the model, and we want to upload here. And yeah, exactly. The user doesn't see a task, a class of task, but they see the name of the task they enter. That's right. So if I were to write that in this way, I should probably do a contains and just find a task that is containing this text, or maybe even leave this out. But that depends. Like yeah. All right, so let's look into the upload. So once again, I'm going to look into the plugins page and look for a download. Not download, actually I want to upload a file. So there's a Cypress file upload, and similarly to the first one, I just npm install this. Here I go. And after I install it, I just have to import it. So again, very, very simple. I'm going to go into my support folder. Index.js, yes, right, and I'm going to just import. And now what I want to do is I want to look into here and see how can I upload it, right? So the documentation or the README file for this says that I need to have my fixture path. So I actually need to save the thing I want to upload right here in this folder, and I'm going to get my file input and I'm going to attach file. So this is the custom command that I can use. So let me just real quick find something we can upload. I don't really want to go through my stuff here, but yeah, there's nothing too dangerous here. So yeah, let me just open this in my Finder. Here it is, and I'm going to add this nice little picture of me into the fixtures folder. So right, so now what I want to do is to find that input element. So whenever a file is uploaded, you should probably, or I'm not aware of any other way, but there's actually a file input element. So it's an HTML tag with the attribute of file upload. So when I look into my app, it's actually using this drop zone library that is doing quite a lot of stuff for you. So you can just drag and drop a file and it's going to be it's going to upload, or you can click on the thing and it's going to open this dialog window for you, like the native browser window. And what it then does is actually going to do the download for you, but it has like this nice little styling and stuff like that. But what it actually does, it has this input element where you can just upload your file. So, but when I look into the code, I can see that it's nowhere in here. Like there are a few divs, there's an SVG class. So when I just type Command F and try to search for that, when I click a file, I have it over here, right? So here's my input type file, and as you can see, highlighted it in the top left corner in the application preview. It's just like hidden, right? So it has 0 height, 0 weight. It's hidden, but if I would to check off these things, you can see that there's this ugly little choose file, no file chosen element. So what the thing actually does is going to just use whatever there's I think like it's just done via JavaScript. So whenever I click on here, it's going to like click on this. So it's going to click on the input element, right? So when I want to do that, when I want to upload and use this, I need to be looking for this input element. So what I need to do is this is an overlay, so I'm just going to find that again, and I think it was like, here it is. I need to select this. So once again, I'm going to use this plugin, this CSS selector, and I'm just going to use this ugly selector, which is not something I would recommend, but yeah, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use my get command to use that to find these, right? And now what I want to do is to actually use my command. So it's going to be attach file, and I'll be using the fixture. So it's going to be this udemy.png, right? All right, so now when I save the test, let's see if I did everything correctly. And seems so, yeah. So I can see that the image is uploaded, it's over here. I can see that I got the right element, the file was uploaded, and I can see that after my file was basically dragged and dropped into the input file or into the input element, there were two requests that happened. So the first one is the upload. That is actually a form request. It's just going to upload the file. And the second one is the patch. So that is actually updating the task that is over here, and it's just saying that this task now has an image in it. So whenever I open it, it remembers that it has the image. So if I open it over here and refresh it, it's actually going to be remembering the link to that image. Okay. I have actually seen that someone is, or rather heard that someone is writing to the Discord channel, but I see that's probably people just asking for help. So you guys are going to need to wait, but I'll get to you, don't worry. And if I see if I can help, and if you're the one that can help, then go ahead. All right. So I've shown you two plugins that you can use, and one of the plugins that I wanted to show you and that I'm kind of really excited about is the real events. So here it is. Here I have my link. And it has been done by an engineer from Cypress, Dmitry Kovalenko, and he wrote a Cypress Real Events plugin, and it's using like the Chrome DevTools protocol to fire real events. So here in the README file, you can read that the Cypress default events are simulated. So that means the events like CY_click or CY_type are fired from JavaScript, and this is actually not the real way or the real thing that happens when you are interacting with your application. And there are a couple of problems with that. One of the more visible or more obvious problem is that whenever I go to the My Boards and I hover over my board, I can see this star appear. But if I try to look for a hover command in Cypress, I wouldn't be able to find one. And that's because you cannot just fire a hover element, a hover interaction just by using JavaScript. So that's one trade-off. And what you can choose to do if you want to test this star is just to use force click, right? So let me let me add a new test right here in boards, and I'm going to use this test. So I have stars on stars boards. So what I do in this test is that I create a new board, then I visit my page, and then I basically force click, and yeah. And I'm going to, and this is rather long test. I want it to be really thorough in this test, but I'm not going to do that right here on the stream, so I'm just going to stop my test right here. So it's going to be just starring my board, right? So when I save this and close this window, and I will open my boards. So, and 2 tests are running because I probably have another it only in my test. Yeah, right, here it is. So let's delete this one, save this and run this again. And all right, here it is, right? So when I go over my timeline, I'm creating my board and I check that it is visible. And after I do that, I'm going to click on the star element, and it is actually this one. But the element is not visible. So what I need to do is to force the click on it, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to click on it, because Cypress checks all this kind of stuff, whether the element is visible, whether it is active, if it's not disabled, and stuff like that. So it does that for you, and that's pretty cool. But it cannot do hover, right? But this plugin actually can do, right? It can do real type, real press, so you can actually press a tap button. So if you want to check accessibility stuff, whether your tap button works, you can do that using this plugin. And real hover, so I'm going to show you this, but let's first install it. So again, very simple installation. Let's go ahead and install this. And the second step is again import real events. So let's do the import. Here it is, and I saved it, so it's going to be throwing errors. And yeah, now it has installed. So save this again. Cannot resolve. I probably messed this up by saving it before the package was installed. Let me run it again. Maybe that'll work. Okay, Cypress real events. Maybe I did something wrong. Import Cypress real events. There's also like I can add types into the Cypress real events, but that's definitely not the problem. And yeah, I think that what I forgot to do is to save the dependency. Maybe that's the problem. Doesn't feel like it should be the problem, but maybe it is. Cypress, yeah, okay. So the installation is still running. Let me see. By the way, if you know, let me know. Okay. Oh yeah, that was the problem. Okay, I really need to catch up on the whole dependency and dev dependency. I'm being self-learning is like you jump over some stuff that you should definitely be aware of, and you caught me here. I don't fully understand that, and I should probably do my homework and look into why this didn't work. I probably should be obvious to me, or I think so. Okay, so let's go ahead and try the real hover command. So let me go into my test, and what it does here is adds board visits. It checks the length board, so the created board that I created via API is visible. And now let's just check so you believe me. So when I use click command, it's not going to click, it's going to be failing because it's not visible. So let's now instead use the real hover, and this is the reason like I should add this to the types. So let me just real quick add it to the ts config. So I'm going to add this here. Now the problem is still here, so I need to type restart ts server, and now the underlining should be going away. If not, then I don't know what's the problem, but yeah, here it is. So now when I hover over this real hover, I can see the documentation, I can see how it's used. So let me save this test now and look into the test, and it didn't work. Oh my, I really expected that this is going to work. Maybe, well, the thing is, it's actually written here in the readme in the caveats section. Is there a caveat section? There was something. I definitely seen something that if I'm using the open mode, it may happen that if I interact with my mouse over the application, then it actually might interfere with the real hover. So let me see if when I run it again, if it works. Nope. Oh, okay, because I don't really want to hover over the star. I want to hover over this element, right? So let me check this element. And this is a board item. And BB, I promise I will do those classes. I will add those attributes, I mean. Okay, so I'm going to be using this when I want to click, but I want to do the real hover on the board item, right? So let's see if this works. It doesn't work, but maybe it was before because of that problem. Nope. The board item. Okay, maybe I'm not hovering over the proper thing. I wonder. Okay, let's see. So I have my elements panel. I want to look into this, and what I can do is to toggle these elements and trigger a hover. And when I use it over the board item, over this item, it seems like it should work. So I don't know here. So the board item, when I do hover over this, it's not really visible, but when I click over here, oh wait, oh, I didn't select it, sorry. So when I hover, I can see that it actually shows the star. So it seems like this should be working, but it is not. And yeah, I haven't tried this plugin on this application, but I have used it in Slido for the hover stuff that is being done over there, and it was working actually really well. So I need to find out what is happening here. But since we are nearing 1 hour already, I'm not going to do that right now. But let me just, yeah, get over. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, well, let me look into that, and we'll see next time if there's something I'm missing, and there probably is. I I've seen this plugin work really well in the past, or last week, or last 2 weeks, something like that. I've been using it. So let's see. All right. So I guess this is almost everything. We've been running for an hour right now, so I think that's a good place to wrap things up. So I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you that you came, and yeah, see you next time. Probably next Monday. We'll see. If you want to stay connected, I suggest you check out my page, philiphritz.com, or join the Discord server, as like messages are flowing all the time here. So if you want to discuss Cypress, then I should recommend. I'm recommending that you join. So all right. See you next time. This was nice. Thank you. Bye.